Hi everyone and welcome back. So it has been quite a mammoth task, which I guess it shouldn't have been, but it has been, to go off and put these 5 sidings in along here. If you watched my previous video, you'd have seen that I did actually get a number of different locomotives and a little bit of rolling stock up and down those. I was just checking really that the points were operational and working, which is fantastic. It all worked as planned. Anyway, the next job for this area is to put some kind of train on track indicators, and the reason being is predominantly this is going to have a station above it and I will not be able to see in. So when putting anything into these sidings, I need a way of detecting them, and I've decided to use something called a Merg train on track detector kit. So this is an above board. It's effectively a bit of a laser, and it shines across the track onto a receiver, and when the beam is broken it will indicate on my control panel that there is something there. So down at this end just here, I'm likely to put 10 of them. So one probably about 3 centimeters from the end, and another one maybe 6 centimeters from that. The idea behind that is, as a train goes in, when the first beam is broken, you can turn off the train and hopefully it won't break the second beam, or you can have it going really slowly until it does break the second beam, and then you know you're right at the end. So that's the plan. Then I will have a few others along this area, so possibly I will have some near the HST marks that I've got just here, and maybe a few just before the coupling ramps. This, my 5th line, maybe I might have a few more, maybe a couple more. I wanted to sort of maybe get some of the EMUs, if I've got any EMUs, out and sort of mark up the area so that they can go in and break a beam, and then have another beam sort of, you know, 5 or 6 centimeters from the end, so another DMU can go in, and when it rolls up to that one and breaks that, you know there's something in there. So that's the plan. That means an awful lot more of wiring will be going underneath the board, which I'm not looking forward to, and I'll be using a Cameo to do a lot of the hard work. So that's the plan. This could take, from laying the actual track, months. I'm hoping it won't do, but I'm hoping by the end of this video I've built at least one of these, tested it with one of these, and make sure that I've got the method of how to make it work in my head, and then I can start putting them in place. So I've built one of the train detectors. That is the laser, that's the receiver. I've now just got to do a little bit of electrical testing on it, just to see how it all goes together. I have put these Molyneux connectors on rather than sort of wiring up directly, because I think that will be the easiest way in future to actually, you know, push the cables through the board, considering they've got to go kind of through here. Hopefully I can make a hole big enough to get the actual Molyneux connectors through, which look like these things just here. So a hole small enough through the board to go through for the red and blue wires. They can then connect up to the relevant connections there. So I'm going to wire this up, give it a test, see what happens. So here we are. I'm just about to power it on. I've done a preliminary check on it. So the green LED came on when I put 12 volts, and now we should see, hopefully, lights come on, and you should just be able to see it is a red flickering light, but it's a bit difficult, I guess, where the cameras pick it up, but it is actually there and working, which is a result. So I've just wired this all up. So I've got my Cameo here, which is providing 12 volts into this little circuit board here. You probably can't see it, but there is a little red laser light flickering away on there, which I guess is, well, there you go, you can just about see it there. It's flashing. And on my system I've got it all hooked up, so This is the red and green is sensor. I've then got a single output going from there into the CANBUS, and I can see if I test this, if I click, I should actually do it away from my eyes, you should be able to see the red light goes off. If I hold that up, it's detected. So when it's like this, it's working, and then when something kind of blocks it, like it would go off onto red, which is exactly what I am after. And likewise on the system, need to arrow that up a little bit, but this is looking very promising indeed. So the next task is this CANBUS doesn't have quite enough of the, it was originally going to be set for servos, but this is now going to have to be adjusted. So I've got some additional inputs on here and over there. And I need to make a load more of these up to make it operational. So I'm going to go and build those now. So I'm taking a bit of a forced interlude into this video at the moment because Saturday, about 4 o'clock, my soldering iron decided to stop, and it took out the garage. It tripped the fuse in the garage, and it also tripped the RCD in the house. And when I put everything back on, this was the only thing that would no longer work. I mean, it wasn't a massively expensive, it was about £40 from Amazon back in the day when I got it, and it's a few years old, maybe up to 5, possibly 5 years old, maybe 4. So I needed to buy a new soldering iron, and one has arrived, and I used a couple of places to go and see what was a good idea, and I've purchased this. I think it's called a Hakko FX88D soldering station, and it arrived today. So I'm just going to unbox it, and then hopefully I can continue doing the 5 remaining circuits for those laser train on track devices that I've got. So this is the unit. I've got no idea what this actually looks like, but I do know it's in blue. I wanted the silver version, but apparently there wasn't an option available. So just having a quick look, see what happens. So this one, the actual soldering iron is separate from the main unit, which is obviously good, I guess, means it's repairable. What we got, that's quite a weight. Here we have got the actual soldering station itself. I'm not sure up, where's the down, who knows, might have to read the instructions, I guess, for that one. This is rather long, and this is something else, so here we go. That is pretty much everything which is in that box. So let's have a look. It says it's 13 amp and fused. There's the soldering iron itself. I've brought a different tip for that because that's too thin. So I've purchased a chisel tip version instead, which you probably can't actually make out, but I've got a chisel tip version. I tend to use those for soldering. They make it a bit easier. Again, not that I probably needed it, but it was relatively cheap. I've got some tip tinner, not sure if that's required. And that's all the new stuff that I have got in regards to the soldering iron. So this is now time to read it up, and then I can finish off soldering the 5 remaining ones of these. 5 remaining one of those, and the 5 that I've done so far do work. So I'm looking forward to getting the last 5 done, and then I can fit 10 to the layout near the end of the sidings. Whilst I am looking at stuff I've purchased, I recently just purchased some of these. So from DCC Concepts. They are the right rail cutters, and you can do them in this orientation. So if you've got track in, I thought that might be an idea, because sometimes you're getting the actual cutting disc out can be a bit awkward, so these could be a good option. And I've been waiting for this for such a long time, since April. This is the DCC Concepts trackbed foam. It's, I don't know if you can see it, it's pre-scored down here. So I guess you can cut this along this line so you can curve it. It's not very flexible. I was very tempted to go off and order the close-cell foam that I've got from elsewhere. This is slightly different. I have got some of the closed cell foam that I always get from E-Foam, and I shall just cut this open and just put this back. So here is the closed cell foam that I shall use, and so it is a very kind of different material actually. That's quite a shiny foam on it, very lightweight, 5mm. These guys will cut to 5mm. I was really considering about getting them to actually, cut it out for me, because DCC Concepts was having a whirl. Anyway, enough about what I've been purchasing and the woes. The interlude is now over, and we will go back to normal operation of trying to get these ToTis working. Okay, so I've decided I'm going to cut this board down probably in size, but I need to mount these things up, and I've got a small distribution board here because some of it requires additional power, and I thought, well, actually I can probably put this under the board and have it all connected up apart from the two sensors, so I can effectively mock this up how I want to put it all together. And so basically you've got the CANBUS, which I need, and then I've got a number of these units here that will have to be mounted. So I'm going to have them side by side, like so. So that's kind of it. So I've got, I have to have a small distribution board here because these ones have to use this for power. So maybe this would be kind of plugged in on one of these connections. and then I can take a connection to each of these. Now I actually can have 8 connected here, but I need 5. So, and then I've got 8 over here. So yeah, I could do various different methods of wiring this up. Now I do also have a connection underneath as well that I want to do for the district cutout. So I'm going to hopefully wire that in as well, but I need to test that. I have got a small testing circuit for that. I'm not quite sure how that works. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to wire that up, but I do know if you put something like power in, then you get something else out here. I just need to work out how that is. I think that just connects into one of those pins there, so I can test that out as well. So I shall now cut the board, I think. Just need a little bit of an overhang, so I think I will draw some lines. I'm going to use my sort of nylon and super glue them on, so I can do something along those lines and I can wire them all up. Good job. So I'm just testing these laser ToTis. So you may not be able to see it, but just there we've got the laser ToTis. We've got a laser on the right hand side and a receiver on the left. Underneath we have got my boards, and to the far left of the screen, sort of like at the 9 o'clock position, you can see a green LED with no red LED. Everything else shows green and red in sort of like a diagonal, but this is basically going to show that once the beam is broken, the red LED will go on. So I'm just going to push a couple of test devices in, and the beam should be broken and the light comes on. There you go. So as you can see, beam is broken, lights come on. Now also you can see on my configuration utility that as the beam is broken, an indicator comes on with ACON. It says acknowledged an on event saying that this has occurred. So as you can see, I need to still put these in place, but fundamentally it is working as anticipated. So the idea behind that is just about here would be the first laser sensor. So as something comes in, it'd break the first and you get an indication on the control panel, and then obviously you could then stop it when it gets close to the second. So that would actually sort of be where the buffer stop is. Now the issue I've got is I think where they are, they're a little bit too close to the track, so anything that comes in would knock them. So I'll need to adjust them a touch and also possibly raise them up, because originally they were much higher up. They were probably a good 3 or 4 centimeters up, which meant the actual main wagon or locomotive would have broken the beams, but now it's really dependent on the wheel sets. Now obviously most stuff has got double or triple axles which would be going in there, so that probably isn't so much of an issue. So each line also has a slight offset to it, because obviously you can see that the laser does stick out a little bit, and I've still got to work out a way of kind of gluing the wires down so they don't get in the way of anything. But that's fundamentally it. It is doing as I wanted, and I'm very, very happy with that. And so I won't film the rest of it unless I find something very, very interesting to film, but I will get on with that now. So this is really the end of this video. This is all about me kind of trying to set up these laser ToTis and getting everything else underneath there and working. So anyway, once again, thank you very much for staying tuned to the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, then obviously don't forget to hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be emailed from YouTube every time that I post in future. I also do have a Facebook group. If you wish to join or be the first to join, the link is in the show more notes below. Again, thanks very much. Stay safe and well, and I shall see you again.